Okay, Kaylee. James Parker, how's it going, mate? Thanks for sending me your golf swing in. I appreciate it. Just sent you an email just asking you to fill out a questionnaire. That way I can get an idea of your shot shape and other things like that. But until I get that back, I wanna I was just going over your videos that you sent me. One thing that really kind of stands out that you can practice straight away, right? And that's this idea of keeping your head centered, right? So you do a pretty good job, and you're overturning a little bit, right? You kind of, there's a little bit too much back bend there. By the time you get to the top, there's a little bit too much back over rotation. That's where you kind of get the club across the line a little bit, right? So we'll talk about all that in the future. But but I mean, there's still really good golfers who turn a lot, right? This guy being one of them, right? So way past 90 degrees with his shoulder turn look. But you can see as he gets up to the top, keeps his head in the box, keeps his hips in the box. And then what happens is as he starts down, his hips start moving more forward, right? They've moved forward in the backswing, and then more forward as he starts his downswing, right? But even though his head's dipping, it's still pretty much staying in the box look, right? So by the time we get to maybe P6 there, yes, his head's dipped. Most of the guys, the head dips a little bit, and that's all to do with kind of the force that they're pushing into the ground with their lead foot, right, to start the downswing. So it kind of, your spine flexes forward as you're pushing down, and most of the guys just dip a little bit. But if I stop him there, right, and I stop you there, which would be P6, right, and then stop you there, where you can see from P4 to P5, your head's moved a lot, moved over your lead foot, right, and then from P5 to P6 kind of just stays there, right. So you can see how, because you've come down to P6 and your head hasn't stayed in the box, it basically means your upper body center, right, which is your center of your shoulders and the center of your hips, are pretty much on top of one another, right? Are pretty much on top of one another, right? And because of that, your shoulders are pretty level, all right? Now, what you find with the pros is by the time they get to P6, right, they've already got sort of 20 degrees, right? 20 degrees there of right tilt. Now, the difference between left tilt and right tilt, left tilt is when your left shoulder moves down. Right tilt is when your right shoulder moves down. So you can see his right shoulder is lower than his left shoulder, right? So he's kept his head in the box. So if we draw a little circle where the center of his shoulders is, about there, right? Center of his hips, let's say about there, and we draw a line between those, you can see there's his spine angle, right? Because his hips have moved forward, whilst his upper body, his head, has kind of stayed in the box, right? So then that produces the right tilt, right? So what I want you to start working on is start keeping your head more centered. Yes, your hips move forward, but your head's got to stay centered, right? Might move up and down a little bit. Most of the pros move it up and down a little bit, more down than up, right? But there's very few pros that you'll see move the head this way or that way, right? Swaying with the head, right? So that's the one little tidbit that I would get you to work on straight away, right? How do you do it? First of all, I mean, you've got a stick on the ground. That's the first thing I get you to do. But I'd maybe get the stick in the middle of your stance, right? So it's directly over your head, right? That's a good way of doing it, because you can see if it was directly under your chin there, when you start the downswing, and I said, right, well, start your downswing and stop, you can see, you're looking down now and you're a good 6 inches ahead of that stick on the ground, right? So I would work on getting a stick in the middle of your stance. I would work on from the top of your swing, then keeping the head in the middle of your stance, then coming down to this position here. And when your head's in the middle of your stance, the hips have moved forward, obviously, right? And you definitely want to get to that point where you've got that right shoulder lower than your left shoulder, right? We're looking for about 20 degrees of right tilt at that point. I would say you're at 0, right? Now, because of that, right, the right tilt also kind of leads into the back bend as well, right? So you want to be extending through impact and extending post impact. Now, if you're not keeping your head in the box, right, and your hips are moving forward, right? So if we stop him there now, right? So right arm parallel with the ground. We're going to call this P8, position 8, right? But you can see now, if I put a little dot next to his, just his right buttock there, and I go straight up, that's a 90-degree line. But if I come backwards a little bit, so there's 80 degrees, so that's 10 degrees of back bend. But if I come back another 10 degrees, 70 degrees, right, that's 20 degrees of back bend, and you can see that's where he is, right? Whereas when we get you there at P8, and we draw a line there, so that's P8 for you, you can see your back is going straight up. If anything, maybe you've got forward bend, right? You can see there that's 90 degrees there, but you're actually going the other way. If anything, you've got maybe 2 or 3 degrees of forward bend rather than 20 degrees of back bend. And all that starts to happen, right, as a knock-on effect when you keep your head centered. All right, mate. But I just wanted to shoot you a quick video and point that out first. And then, when you send me a questionnaire and you send me next video, I'll start analysing it properly and sending you some good stuff to work on. But that's the first thing. We've got to keep that head steady. All right, mate. Any questions? Just shoot me over an email. Cheers.